Hello ladies, gentlemen and others, my name is Dan, the voice behind that Kaito Dan, and welcome to something pretty awesome. Back at this year's RTX during the RWBY Beyond panel, it was revealed that the world of RWBY will be a new featured series for the popular collectible trading card game Weiß Schwarz, where you use characters and moments from your favorite animes, mangas and video games to battle and defeat your opponent. That by itself is really cool, having RWBY join the likes of Love Live, Persona, Mob Psycho 100, Attack on Titan, Kill la Kill, numerous Fate series, and even Adventure Time and Batman Ninja as part of the series lineup. But today, thanks to the fine folks behind Weiß Schwarz, I'm able to reveal for the first time ever some of the RWBY cards that you'll be able to collect or trade with as part of the release later this December. We got 4 featured cards which I'm very excited to talk about here, and for my fellow RWBY fans who aren't familiar with how the game is played, I'll also discuss a few things like how each of the cards are used, some cool details about the card itself, and more. So without any further ado, let's begin with the bread and butter to your Weiß Schwarz deck, the character cards, aka your primary source of damage, as represented here first with my boy Jean in his Beacon school uniform. As you can see, we got a neat little snapshot of the lad pulled right from volume 1, plus a familiar quote for that extra bit of fan service. And right away, it's cool to see that character inclusions aren't limited to just one version of them. Especially pleasing, I'm sure, for those of you who would want to collect as many of your favorite characters as possible, either for specific deck builds or for just collection wise. The first important detail though about the card is the big number in the bottom left, which is the card's power. If it's higher than the power of your opponent's character card when you attack it, that card is defeated, and your opponent will take damage based on how many soul points you have, which are the little symbols just to the right of the power number. After reaching at least 7 points of damage, the opposing player will then level up. So starting at level 0, reaching 7 points will take you to level 1, reaching 14 points will take you to level 2, and so on, with the first person to make their opponent reach level 4 being the winner. Levels will also factor into when you can use a card, as if we look to the top left, you see the minimum level that the player needs to be at, as well as how many cards you have to pay from the stockpile to use them. So for Uniform Jean, you can use him pretty quick and easy, since its level and stock costs are both 0. Though judging by his low attack power, it's probably best that you use him early in the game before the heavy hitters come in and wreck it easily. Actually, this kinda makes a lot of sense for Jean, at least for this version of him, to be on the weaker side, since at this point in the story, he was very inexperienced as a fighter. A good example then of the Weiß Schwarz team putting in a lot of thought into their cards and how fitting they represent the source material. To the right of the soul points, you'll then see the card series specific grouping, which play into other cards' effects. For example, Uniform Jean is grouped with other Remnant cards and obviously Team Juniper cards. And if a card's effect is requiring, say, a Team Juniper card to work with, you can use this one. The coloured bar itself is also a fittingly Jean yellow, the colour helping to categorize what the card often specializes in. Uniform Jean is a speed focus card, thanks to his effect aiding in trying to defeat an opponent quickly by giving all other Remnant group cards an extra 500 power, making it a decent early game support card. And again, boy ain't that fitting for Jean, given his role as a supportive leader, and later on when he gets his Aura Amp semblance that gives its own kind of boost. Finally, in the top right is the trigger icon, symbolizing which additional effect type the card will use if you draw it during the game's trigger phase, ranging from doing more damage to returning an opponent's card to his hand, or in the case of Uniform Jean, which has no trigger icon, nothing happens. Again, nicely fitting the Rookie Huntsman at this time. But then we have that other effect that it can use, the one where it can choose a specific Remnant Group card to give 1000 power to. To use this effect, you're gonna need something like the next card that I'm revealing, the Climax card, School Dance. Climax cards are very special, not just because they're played horizontally and reference stuff like scenes and settings, but because they can only be used during the climax phase to give your character cards a major boost to their power, and in some extra special cases, activate climax combos, but we'll get to that in a second. Focusing on just School Dance for the moment, there's actually 2 versions of this card that you can collect, the double rare version and the super rare version, the latter featuring a different choice of artwork, and for you collectors out there, a shiny holofoil look. Don't worry though, both cards do have the same effects and you can use either or with nothing being lost, the only difference being who can act smug about having the rarer card. On its own, School Dance will give all your characters an additional 1000 power and 1 soul. Plus, when pulled during the trigger phase, you can choose a card with the noted trigger symbol from the waiting room and make them party along with the rest of your cards in your hand or in the stock, making this card great in not just helping you dish out more damage, but also in getting in more cards into the action as quick as possible. Climax cards really shine though when used in climax combos, activating certain character cards' strongest effects when both the character and their fitting reference are in play. And wouldn't you know it, I got one for School Dance, with both versions of Jean's School Dance attire, his iconic white dress being the shiny card this time out. With Volume 2 now giving him a lot more experience and strength, his level requirement is now 1, his power has got a welcome increase as well, and when School Dance Jean attacks, he can choose a dance partner of sorts to give them 2000 power for their attack in turn on the dance floor. But that climax combo is the real life of the party, because when you attack with Jean's School Dance while the School Dance climax card is in play, you can turn a remnant card in your deck into his +1, adding them into your hand. So suffice to say, this card is really great for attacking and leading the way for more character cards to enter battle faster. And that's not even getting to the amount of power you can have when combining with the boost from Uniform Jean alongside School Dance. And then finally, we end this on a big high for me, with one last character card, as this time we go from my best boy to my best girl and RWBY's best bun, Velvet Scarlatina, who has a bar coloured red, classing her as a recovery card in terms of speciality that can massively help in turning the tide of battle back in your favour in various ways. First, you got her 6000 power, easily surpassing both Jean cards that I've shown already, which makes sense given that she's a second year student. And then there's her trigger effect that gives an additional soul to an attack, as well as a 1000 power boost to other remnant cards, and her Ace in the Rabbit Hole, an effect that can give you a chance to gain up to 4 character cards in your hand. I guess, much like how Velvet can bring other characters' fighting styles and weapons into play thanks to a semblance and some cinematic photos, she can bring other fighters into action here for Weiß Schwarz thanks to some cinematic climax cards. And once again, imagine what you can do when you add all 4 of these effects together. Just one of the many ways that you can mix and match your strategies to come out the victor in Weiß Schwarz. But that's all I've got for this special first look at just a few of the RWBY cards coming to the game, and I'm so happy to see how well each of these characters and iconic moments are incorporated into the game's mechanics, while still fitting their references perfectly. I for one am definitely going to try my luck at collecting as many RWBY cards as I can, especially that Velvet card, and you can try your luck too when the cards release in select territories on December 17th. For more information, check the link in the description down below. Once again, big thank you to the Weiß Schwarz team for inviting me on board for this collab. Like I said, I can't wait to start collecting, and hey, once I'm able to pop up in a convention again down the line, maybe you watching could trade or battle with me if we got the time. For now though, why not comment down below which characters and moments from the RWBY series that you would hope to see be a Weiß Schwarz card. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe and bell buttons to make sure you get every video from me as they drop. Follow me on Twitter for all things RWBY and channel related, and definitely follow the various Weiß Schwarz social media platforms for more on the RWBY release and the game as a whole. Until next time though, have a good day or good night, and peace out.